Hi, my friends. Welcome to my channel. I'm Tammy K. Today, we're getting into fall. It is time. Does it bother you a little bit that this is off-centered? Kind of bothers me. That's just how it happened, and it's okay. It's gonna be fine. So we're gonna paint these 3 autumn leaves. It's pretty simple. Let's get to it. Let's get in the fall mood. All right, friends, I'm spraying down my palette here with my Meeden ceramic palette, which is really pretty, it has 12 wells. I just have their metal palette on the side here, and I've got my darker, my neutrally and darker colors on there, but this fits just 12, so I've got the brightest ones, the ones that I like the most, spraying it down. And then I've got my Meeden 100% watercolor paper. This is a 10 by 7, and then I've got some brushes here. So all the supplies are linked in the description of this video if you're interested in checking them out, and there's a 10% off discount code as well you can use. So I've got a few leaves here that I painted. This is actually from last year in the fall. We're gonna paint this, something similar to this guy. First of all, we're gonna do 3. You know that already, just reiterating it. So I've got my my warm colors on here. I haven't added in my greens and that kind of thing because that's going to make mud with the red. So I'm just gonna grab what I have, add a little more orange here, and we're just going to start painting in these 5 shapes here for this leaf. So I'm just going to press down, curve around, make a C-curve shape. And some of these leaves might fall off the page just because of where I positioned it, so that's okay. If it goes off to the side, you can always put yours more in the middle, unlike what I did. And actually, you could angle it so that the stem is this way and fit it all. But anyway, either way, so we've got this lovely kind of elongated tear shape, teardrop shape, there we go. And feel free, so it's kind of like this star-shaped, I'm used to saying florals, so star-shaped leaf. And I'm gonna grab some of that orange, and I'm just kind of wiggling my brush this time, leaving a nice point, filling in the colors, allowing them to mix and match. And then just squeegeed it off my brush, dried it a little bit, just blending. So we've got our second leaf section there, grabbing whatever color you have on your brush. And I've got a very nice point on this brush here. So I'm just going to make the tip a little bit more pointy with that piece of the brush, part of the brush. So this is a little bit fatter than this side, it's okay. Let's do another one on this side, kind of wonky, shooting off right there, and then coming back around, making these very simple, very easy, very loose as well. And we'll do a couple layers. So we'll have that first layer, of course, for the color, the first layer of color, and then we'll add in some vein details and just make that really, really pretty. So you can dip into some brown if you wanted. I have some on my brush now, a little bit of brown, maybe a little bit of orange as well. Let's do another section right here. Remember, star shape. So that's what we're going for. That's actually really intense color, which I love that. So, and you could put in some green if you wanted to. When the leaves are changing in the fall, they're just really, becoming a whole bunch of different colors. And so, feel free to emulate that when you're painting this. I'm going a little bit less intense, but you could do it more intensely if you wanted to, and just really have a lot of fun with it. So I've got this last one that's just gonna kind of disappear over there and just filling that in. So see, you're looking at this like a star shape, floral. I do believe this is a type of maple. I can't recall. I think there is I want to say like Canadian maple or something. What am I saying? What am I saying? Canadian maple. So what am I trying to say is I feel like this is maybe a maple leaf, but then this is a version. Let me know in comments, what am I talking about? Do I know what I'm talking about? If I don't, please correct me. I probably should have looked this up before. I'm just gonna drop in some color here and there. I've got some lovely yellow. Since we're doing our vein details, we don't have to worry too much about this part of the details, but it's just so much fun. So I'm grabbing a little bit of paint, putting in the well that has some water, and then just blending it, making some really pretty marks. And I don't think I'll regret it. I'm gonna take this smaller brush here, and I'm going to grab some of my brown. I'm not gonna mix it in here because I don't want to dull the colors I already have. on the palette there. I do love this palette. I wish it had a few more colors, and then yet at the same time, or a few more wells, but then at the same time, you don't really need to use all your colors. And this set comes in 24 tubes, but you have a wide variety of different greens and blues and kind of reds and stuff to choose from. So I just chose my favorite ones and put them in there. All right, we've got our stem going on, just let it kind of hang out. I'm actually going to grab some more concentrated dark and just touch down. That didn't work. Let me grab some more. Sometimes you don't have enough water on your brush to pick up the pigment that you need. So just a little bit of dark in here, just putting that in. All right, so we'll just let that hang out. We're gonna do a couple more. So let's go ahead and do the next one. And I'm gonna take probably this kind of mid-size, it's probably number 6 round. These don't have numbers on the brushes. So it does make it a little challenging to figure out what size, and yet at the same time, you know, you kind of just use your eye to know what sort of size of brush you're wanting. So, but if you're asking me, I'd say it's about a number 6 if you're following with me. So we're gonna do something like this one here. It's got several leaves, different colors, and we're gonna start with, I've got that point there. I'm gonna start at the top, and we're just going to kind of make this lovely, and we'll fill this in, leaf shape here. So I'm just going around like this, just kind of filling out that space first, and you can make it bigger too if you want to, if it's too small. So the lovely thing about doing fall leaves is that it gets you in the mood, and it can also give you some inspiration. For example, what if you want to make fall cards for people? And if you have any inclination of doing that, you can grab some cardstock, like on Amazon, for example. It's just easy, and you can make your own cards. So we've got this leaf shape here, which I think is really cute. I'm gonna grab some of that brown. Because we've got lovely pointed tips on these brushes, need more water here, grab that. We are able to do thin and thick strokes. So these are quite lovely. All these supplies are student grade, as far as I realize, although this is 100% cotton watercolor paper. So, you know, sometimes when you're starting out, you're not necessarily using more of a fancy paper like cotton. You can if you want to, and some people just get filled with terror, you know, at the thought of practicing on cotton. So I always recommend practicing on the cheap stuff if that's how you feel comfortable, and just kind of, you know, go from there. Especially if your budget is smaller, you just build up the, you know, supplies that you want. These are really great supplies though, and I love the colors that we're getting here. So I'm just dropping in some more of this orangey here just to get some nice beautiful blends with the wet on wet technique. Different colors. Let's drop in some yellow too. So if you are liking this video, guys, please hit the like button and subscribe to my channel. Of course, you don't miss out on any future tutorials. So that's our first leaf. We're gonna do a second one here, and I'm wanting to do more of a muted color. I'm gonna grab some green and add it in over here to this red, which is gonna give me kind of a brownish color. Add some more red if you add too much. It's just like this little dance of trying to figure out how much to add to mute it out a little bit so it's not so intense. And then we're gonna do the same type of technique, and I'm going to angle my paper, which I totally encourage you to do. I know some people don't like to do that, and I am all for it. See how I'm angling my brush? Because I want that point to be on the outside of the leaves. So it might feel a little weird. You can angle it like this. We're just trying to get that kind of teardrop shape happening here. And then we'll start to fill it in. So pretty. So with fall, sometimes you want more of a muted color palette than like intense colors that maybe you'd want in the spring or the summer. And so just adding in the opposite color on the color wheel to the color that you're mainly trying to use, and you're gonna mute your colors. So red and green mute each other out, and they're opposite on the color wheel. Just think of Christmas. And then of course you have orange and blue. And then you have yellow and purple, and those will do the job for you. So I want to do another leaf right here, kind of behind it. This is sort of starting to dry, so I feel like I can achieve this pretty well. I'm gonna actually grab my reddish brown color, and that will be the leaf color for this one behind. I have to say we have someone mowing the lawn again. If you hear it in the background, just know that's what's happening. people are doing real life over here, and as am I, so we just go with what we got. And the cicadas are seeming to calm down right now, which is pretty great. They've been definitely a part of some of my summer videos, which, you know, of course, the sounds of summer. So there we go. So we have one right there in the background. I'm gonna grab some more concentrated pigment, maybe on the edges, on the top here, maybe in the center a little bit. And I do want to differentiate between this one and this one. If they're looking a little similar, just add a little bit more intense color just to kind of border it off right there. And then I'm gonna do that a little bit more, maybe with just a little bit of this on here. Just a little bit more intense color there. And just let that blend together. So you can do glazing if you want, which is waiting till it's dry and then adding a second layer, but you're gonna create a lot more fun little blends if you do it while it's wet. Okay, so we'll let these guys do their thing and dry. This one is pretty dry. We're going to do a third leaf right here. This guy's really fun. So we're working with several different distinct colors. Let me grab this larger brush here. I'd say this is like a number 10 possibly, most likely. So I've got this orangey red here, grabbing that on my palette, and we're just going to start adding that top part here and just start to make some lines there at a diagonal here. And you can fill in some of them as you go down, or you can leave some white space as well too. And then we've got another one that kind of comes out like this, just like little wings, you know, or little arms. And I hope you guys are feeling good. If you are feeling anxious at all, as I'm grabbing some orange now, take a deep breath. You know, remind yourself this is fun. This is supposed to be a fun time and it's practice. I'm getting better. I'm enjoying learning something new. And just encourage yourself that you're sitting down today, that you're practicing your watercolor, and that you are learning new skills, that you are excited to learn, and you have that attitude to grow. And, you know, I appreciate that so much. When we have to come to the painting table with just a really big excitement for what we can accomplish, what we can learn, what we can create, not only for our well-being and our self-care, but just for the sake of learning in general. It's good to learn new skills and to practice those things. And you can even gift this to somebody else or make a card like we were saying before. Okay, so now it's time to drop in that color a little bit here on the ends, just to accentuate. And remember, we are doing, you know, some other markings later, but we're just getting this ready to do that. So, you know, the leaves transition and they change their colors. And we're gonna make this a little bit more pointy over here. And so we're just emulating that natural process that happens every year. If you don't live in a place that has 4 seasons, well, or any seasons, then you don't experience that in the same way. And yet you get to have a different type of weather all year round, which hopefully you enjoy as well. So, but if you don't have the fall leaves changing, at least you can try to enjoy that through painting it and just kind of capturing the beauty on paper as well. There's some gorgeous pictures that photographers put out, and you know, just you can really appreciate the gorgeousness that happens every single year when you are in the places where it's starting to get cooler. You start to think about all this pumpkin-y things. Some people like pumpkin, some people don't, and that's totally fine. But I do love the pumpkin spice, guys. I say bring it on, and actually I'm excited to do a little bit of pumpkin muffin baking this week is what I'm hoping to get to, so we'll see. So I just wanted to add in a little bit more fluffiness here. So just taking your brush and allowing those marks to come out, just like that. And so while that is drying, we're gonna start adding in our veins for our leaves. Okay, so I do have, you know, this metal palette here. I'm just gonna put this aside and grab this because, and this is the same brand of paints, but I just want to, you know, have, since I'm basically just using this now, have this here so you can see I've got a really dark brown on my palette, and I'm going to take the point of the brush. We're gonna start just like our sample here. We're gonna start here at the top And then each section of leaves needs a very sturdy supporting vein with little veins going off of it. So that is what we're doing. Pretty simple. You can do it. So just really thin. I'm doing kind of sketchy lines versus one continuous line so that we can just have a different kind of look to it. And you don't have to commit to one certain line. Like for example, if it's starting to go off into a weird direction, well, you're just doing sketchy lines. And so you can change the trajectory and the direction that it's going. So you don't have to commit to one line if you're not loving the positioning, if that makes sense. All right, so we have our connecting branches, and now we're just going to start making really thin little I said branches, those are veins, little connecting veins here, just tiny ones that you would have on your leaves. You can make them a little wonky if you want, like that, or just straight ones, up to you, really up to you. And there we go. And then here, adding those in. And so how is it going right now? Take a deep breath. I hope you're reminding yourself that this is fun, that you are learning, that hopefully you are enjoying this practice. And, let me know in the comments what you might use this for. Do you think that you would find yourself, painting your own fall cards this year, or, giving a painting away, or if you're trying to work on your compositions because, you want to maybe eventually sell your own artwork, your own compositions. Let me know in comments what your plan is with something like this. I always love to hear your experiences and your stories. Just if you need to extend them out longer, because, in a leaf, of course, like you've got to have that support, or else your leaves are just gonna be droopy and not do what you want. So, add it in however that makes sense for you. And then we're going to dry these and start adding details for these as well. So we're going to do the same type of thing. I've got my dark brown here on my palette. We're using just very little paint, and we're gonna make that center vein right here up the middle, and then just have, some leaf veins coming off of here, just like that. Very simple, very easy. You can have some small ones coming off of the bigger ones if you want. They kind of look like little fall trees. So maybe this is a series that I could make for, just how to make your own fall cards, just really simple things that we can do. Christmas is coming up kind of soon, kind of not, and also some fun things that we can keep in mind in the future. All right, so let's, for cards and things. Because 'tis the season to be all the things, right? With the fall season, you've got, the pumpkin type stuff. You've got all the spice, the coziness as the weather is changing, getting cooler. The days are starting to get shorter. And yeah, yesterday for us, sunset was at 6:30, and I was like, when did that happen? Because it was 7:30 for the longest time, and then it was 7, and now it's 6:30. So I don't know. At some point, you're not paying attention, but weather's changing. I definitely noticed that. And yeah. So I'm hoping that this all makes sense for you to make these leaves. You're just thinking about your main stem, and then you're thinking about those supporting kind of, your main kind of vein, which is right here, kind of connected like to the stem, right? And then you've got your little, your supporting little veins that are supporting the main ones here that come off here. Every little section of leaf has one of those veins connected to it to make sure it doesn't flop around. And I really love doing kind of these rainbowy leaves because it's pretty realistic to what you see when everything is changing. So I just love that. And it's also really fun. Okay, so that's that piece. I do want to add in a little bit of splatter because I'm a splatters girl. So we're gonna grab this one. And I'm gonna do the double paintbrush that I see people do a lot. I used to do it and then I just started tapping it with my own hand, but looks kind of fun and fancy, I guess, to do it this way. I definitely just splattered my face, so there's that. Let's do some green as well. And there we have it, our fall leaves. Okie doke friends, we have painted our 3 fall leaves. Make sure to use them for fall cards or maybe making a simple composition with just 1 leaf or 2 or all 3. And let me know in comments what you thought. Remember, I am on Patreon. If you want to take your watercolor journey to the next level with exclusive content and all this stuff, even live stream with me on some tiers, then check it out. The link is in the description of this video. Happy fall. We're here. Let's celebrate it. Go with pumpkin latte. Enjoy.